recording now, so hopefully I won't cuss too much. Okay, so the first chart, Euro USD. Well, actually, this is what is it? March 10th. We're gonna be doing just my morning prep. I'm gonna cover the hourly FIBO and the current FIBO swings, and it's open for anyone to ask questions. It's a little bit early for me, so I'm still not quite wide awake. And on this one, good lord. The green line here, the dotted green one, that's a buy. So are you using core liquidity markets on this one? Cool. Let me ask, just for recording wise, how do you like them price wise, and how often are they suspending trading? Not like suspending, but not letting you get a trade in. You can type and answer that while I look at it. Okay, so what I see on this one is it broke out a range. We had a small range occurring, which was up here, down, up, and down. So we could say we had a small range going. The general trend was downwards, and it looks like it was consolidating. So at least you waited long enough to see that the cog pointing downwards isn't going to have as much effect, but you have the itchy cloud too, so we know that we have downward momentum on it. If this one would have closed lower, of course, it would have been a sign of a continuation, but it dropped down and then it pulled back up, so that actually wasn't too bad of a trade. It would have been hard to get entry on this. I would have shot for probably this Murray. Oh, it's going to be one of those. Okay, I would have shot for this Murray math line and below the 100 range. My entry point would have been a goal of down here where it was touching the Bollinger Bands. If that was the case, anything somewhat okay for entry would have been alright. If you would have had to wait to the last 30 seconds, though, it would have been a no trade. So it really depends on your level of entry, if what you feel comfortable with. Cool. That's what you wanted to do. Some people, I'm not being mean when I say this if you're watching the video, some people don't have the skills to recognize when they should be getting in and out of a trade. So that's why I tell them to wait till the last 10 to 30 seconds. So if the trade just basically offers itself up on a platter, then they're good to get into it, and if it doesn't, they can pass on it because they don't really understand. Other than that, I mean, that's actually a decent trade. The market did look like it was kind of shitty here. I'm cussing already. Oh well. But it did form into a range. At this point, like this trade, I wouldn't have taken it because I wouldn't have known if this was just a pullback and a move downwards. But you waited till we established that we had a bit of a consolidation or a small range forming. So that's actually not too bad of a trade, and especially if that's the entry you shot for, that is a really good trade. It shows that you actually waited for it to get where it needed to be. Let's look at the other one. This one scares me. And let me zoom in a little bit. Yeah. The reason this one scares me is because the doji before, just the wick length, the doji before it, and then the wick length on this. I would have passed on this one. If you got into it, it would have been down here. I would have been shooting for around this area. The daily pivot, 61.8. This is the Ken Chow thing. I'm gonna try and download those Ken Chow videos. I know I have them. Well, I guess I should say upload them so y'all can get them. It's a really good watch. It is a couple hour watch, and you'll probably end up having to watch them twice. You see the little blue line right here? That blue line is based off of a whole video series that Ken Chow did. That basically it's, God, I don't even remember. It's been like 2 years since I watched it. It's based off of when to get out of a spot trade, but that also means a high probability reversal point. So I have to upload them because I paid $225 for the videos, but they are so old now, I don't mind uploading them. I had a link, but someone said that it has a virus on it, so I don't want to post that. If you go through Skype yesterday, you'll see where I posted up the link. You can double check it and see if it does have a virus on it. Oh, sorry, I'm burping. But I'll try and download them, then upload them this weekend. It's a good series to watch, and I'll try and have it ready by Friday, because literally it will take you all weekend to watch, because you'll probably watch it the first time, and then the second time around you're going to be like, what the... Well, the first time around you're going to be like, what the fuck did I just see? And the second time around you'll probably start to grasp it. I honestly have watched the videos like 5 or 6 times. I pick something up new out of it. I use it a lot for my Forex trading. This one I would have stayed out of. Just the wick size scares the crap out of me. And... look at the size of the hourly. It's right here. And your current FIBO conditions are right here. So we definitely have an expanding market. I'm going to go over what I see there in just a minute on my charts. If we want to go by the rules, I would have maybe been looking for a trade on this candle, the end of this one. The only reason being is because we had a daily open. But then it comes down to some weak-ass confluence on this side. So you did wait until you had a shit ton of confluence stacked up. This point here was a very good trap to set. If I had a trap set and I didn't jump to the chart, I might possibly have taken that one when it popped below that. If my indicator would have hit, if I would have had my trap indicator say, hey, look at this chart real quick. So as a trap, yes. As a TA trade, no. It just would scare the shit out of me. If you're waiting for daily pivot and then you had the 61.8 and this is a probable reversal point, this little blue line, I would say it was a waterfall till here, but then we got 2 green candles and then it dropped again. That's what I mean. This one would scare me. After the fact, looking at it, it is an awesome trade because look at that movement upwards. It would have been a 1% for me if I did take it, but this would have had to have been one where I had set a trap. And if you've seen the videos, you know what I mean by set a trap. I use the alerter Indy, and I would have had a line drawn here so that price breached it. I would have known about it immediately. But I'm going to go through my pre-trading prep here in a minute, and I'll show you, because I might set up some traps on something that looks similar to that. Any questions on your 2 charts before we move on? Holy shit, I almost drank my whole cup of tea already. Let me check video size, because I adjusted a few things. 31 megabytes. Yeah, we're doing much better this time. Sorry, I'm checking video. I'm using entry price got pushed down by... Oh, nice. Yeah, I'm using this, so I'm checking video size because I'm recording here. I upgraded computer, so... Alright, let's get into daily trading. My little setup. You didn't miss much, Normans. We're just actually getting starting. We had 2 charts that I went over, and that's it so far. If you have some charts, get them loaded up. I'm going to start my little fuck me. I'm going to start my pre-trading prep routine. Okay, so... first thing I do is I check Forex Factory. And I'm just going through because I have not looked at the charts yet, so you're going to see what I do before I start trading today. Forex Factory. As I'm looking at all day, we got I don't even know what that one is, so this is actually a good example. Okay, so I don't know what this one is. It's an all-day thing, so I want to be aware if we're going to get some weird movements and shit. I don't even know. It's ECOFIN meetings. And they're usually held in Brussels, attended by France ministers from the EU member states to discuss a range of financials such as Euro support, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so that's what it is. The Why Traders Care thing is a little bit more. It's, the Council coordinates economic policies of the 28 member states. So it basically affects the whole EU. So I would be a little bit, but they have it listed as medium impact all day. So I just need to be aware it's going on and watch for funky movements. Now, what do I mean when I say that? When these meetings are going on, sometimes they'll make little announcements. So we want to watch to make sure that if we get multiple alerts on several pairs, because we know that this meeting affects the euro. So if we get some kind of funky news, that means we want to see movement across several pairs pick up all at once. If that happens, we want to immediately stop trading. Why? Because most likely that freaking meeting dropped some kind of news. And what I say by movement, it doesn't have to necessarily we get value charts alerts. Most likely we will. Normally, if it's a slow day or on a normal day, you'll get all of a sudden you get 4 value charts alerts past on 4 pairs that are euro based. Then you know, hey, stop. That's why we got a freaking meeting going on. 9 a.m. jolts will move the market a bit. Remember, U.S. and China, any type of those news, you want to pause 10 minutes before. And other than that, I got 9:35 a.m. Carney's going to speak. So after 9:30, it looks like we're going to be clear till 1. So all we know now that it is it's 6:44. So I got. It's not really high impact all day. What's going to happen from those meetings? Is if some news leaks out or they make a news announcement, since it's a meeting, we're not going to know when it's going to happen. But we will know that if a news release comes out, it should affect several pairs at once, and we should see movement across several pairs. So if you're looking at a pair today while this meeting's going on, and all of a sudden you see the candle start bouncing around or moving funny, one, if you don't get a value charts alerts across 2 or 3 pairs, jump to another euro pair. Like cable, for me, cables is considered a euro pair, but you could jump to euro USD or here. Anything with euro in it. We got euro USD. Basically, any pair is going to be affected. If it's a big news release and you see movement just pick up on your charts, jump around and see if all the charts are being affected. If all the charts are being affected, then you know it's most likely coming out of that meeting. It's something to be. Anytime I see that, if the chart, let's say for instance the charts are nice and lazy and slowly moving, and I'm looking at a chart and it all of a sudden movement, the pace of the chart picks up, like the actual formation speed of the candle is what I'm referring to, picks up and starts moving faster, I will jump to another chart and see if it's doing it too. Just to see, because that means something just happened, whether it's released news or unreleased news. Something just happened that's affecting the markets across the board, and a lot of times that's a good signal. Pause a minute and let that pass through, because somebody just dropped some news on the market. Let me close this. Okay, so Forex Factory, I have a general idea what's going on for the day. What's currency currency correlation? Okay, give me a second then before we start more. I think I have this bookmarked. Yeah. Okay, so I have it bookmarked. It's under Forex Trading Tools. And let me put the link in there for you. Now, on a 1-minute chart, this is something that, it's up to you whether you want to use, I'm sorry, a 5-minute. Jesus, I lost my any-meeting window. Okay, so that's the link to the website I went to. I do have it bookmarked. It gives you, it's Forex Trading Tools, and what's the first thing you're going to see is Forex correlation. I guess since we're here, this is something I actually use, but I use it here under Forex volatility. Don't worry, we'll get to yours. I just don't want to forget. This is volatility of pips euros per hour of the day. Volatility, remember, if it drops too low, that's something that you want to avoid. We'll get into that later. Let me get back to your question. I'll save that one for another time. I'm sorry, I always jump onto tandem shit. But Forex correlation's right here. So, all Forex correlation is it looks at, here's AUD, USD. And we see the correlation is 100 because it's the same freaking pair. But if we want to look across the board, and now these go, and I don't know if you want to bring it up on your screen because it might be a little bit difficult to see. But like say AUD USD and USD CHF. Right now it's a negative 77.3 correlation, which means they are moving opposite of each other. It's not super high, but it's it's getting there. For instance, USD CHF, NZD USD, the correlation, and this is 5-minute correlation, is negative 80.5. So that means that they are mirroring each other. Like when you put something in a mirror, when you look at text, it reverses it. That pair is mirroring itself. Or it's mirroring NZD, USD, and USD CHF. So what you there are some options where you could bring up two charts. This is more, in my opinion, it's more of a long-term thing. It's a bitch if you're going to try and do forex correlation across a 5-minute pair, unless you just happen to be trading those same two pairs, and then you can line them up together. I do know some people, they trade, like me, I only trade 5 pairs. So if I could come here, so I trade UD, USD, and USD JPY. The correlation is 4.1. So basically me looking at those two charts together would be pointless. GPD USD 2.7, not high enough for me to care, wouldn't be looking at them. Euro USD is 37.6. See, none of the pairs that I trade correlate together. Why is that? Because I don't want to be bored. If I'm getting two pairs that this number is a high enough positive number, it means they're mimicking each other, doing the same thing. And so if one's flat, the other one's going to be flat. So it kills your trading day. I highly recommend picking pairs that don't correlate, so that way you have more trades available for you per day. Because if you have a bunch of pairs that are correlating well together, then Now if we go to the hourly chart, let's look. Here's AUD USD, and what's one of my ones I like? USD JPY. On the hourly chart, negative 92.9%. So on the hourly chart, AUD USD and USD JPY are almost doing the exact opposite of each other. 92% of their movement is opposite. So I trade off the hourly, which I do pay attention to this for the hourly, but again, not so much that it kills me. Hourly AUD USD and cable, 61.7. And Euro USD. See, Euro USD and AUD USD, they're mimicking each other on the hourly, but on the 5-minute, it really sucks. Remember, on the 5-minute, this correlation can vary widely because we're only looking at a 5-minute time range. The other thing you can do is you can pick up the pairs you trade. So let's say I don't trade EJ, US CAD I hate, USD CHF isn't on there. So I'd trade Euro, GBD, USD. Where's AJ? I'm blind. So if you see it, just yell out the column. Screw it. Well, here's gold if you like it. AUD NZD is one I trade, but that's for Aussie session. And let's see if I missed anything. And AUD JPY. Cool, got it. Anyone else questions on correlation? See, like, if we look right now, gold and the US yen, 84% that they're moving opposite. All I do is I look through for here, 80% or above. If you do want to use it, I would look through for 80% above or a negative 80%. On the 5-minute though, remember, it's not going to match up very well, so you can always look at the hourly if you're trading hourly, or they have daily. But correlation's a good tool to use, but personally in trading bins, use it to pick charts that aren't matching to give you more trading opportunities. Now if you're on a higher time frame, use it to show charts that are doing the exact opposite of each other for Forex. Okay, so I guess we can get started here. Hold on, I gotta load up hotkey so I can move through my charts without screaming. If this one doesn't have audio, I'm gonna scream. The one I did yesterday had no audio after I was done with it. Make sure we got everything loaded up. Okay, so I'm gonna start back here, AUD JPY. I'm gonna stick to TA charts first, and then we're going to move back. So first thing I'm going to notice, I'm on cable, not AJ, which is me being... Did I mess something up? Let me check. Okay, so we'll start with cable, fuck it. Cable, we got somewhat of a range moving. Price, since this point, went down to the bottom of the cog, slowly made its way up to the top, and now it's moving down. So, again, all I do is I have a little piece of paper and I just mark it down. Is it ranging? You can put a smiley face, a happy face, a smile with a straight line, whatever. Give it a 1 to 10 rating on how you like the range. Is it ranging, and is it not trending? Yes, it's ranging. No, it's not trending. If we look over here, we have red, green, red, green. So Itchy kind of confirms for us real quick that we are in a trend with a rather... we are in a range. Good lord, I'm going to screw y'all's heads up. We are in a range, so... yes, we can. Next thing I want to do I see... let me make sure I got the right one. Load... indicator list... no. So I don't have it on there because, sorry, I reloaded this one yesterday. So the next thing I need to do is have alerter on there so I can set my traps. We'll run through those real quick. Since we're looking at the charts, I'll switch to a line chart real quick because a couple people said they wanted to see it again. And we're just going to take a look if we see any confluence that we need to be aware of. Basically set it... alerter to something I'm working on for somebody because they wanted it to alert off of shapes. Like, so if they drew this on the screen, they wanted it to alert when price hit that. And they wanted it to alert off of more than just lines and trend lines. Yeah, that one's more of a Forex one that someone in the Forex group that I'm in asked me about. Okay, so alerters on there. So the first thing we're going to look at, do we see any traps? We have daily pivot, MS1 right here. Oh yeah, I forgot. Let's go to line chart. And let's change the color of that line. I'll make it a funky pink for you, so hopefully it'll stand out. Okay, so this one, I'm going to a line chart just because it is a request I had. And quite simply, I see one here. Just happens to coincide up here with this. So by the line chart, that is a good support and resist, as in a chart base, that's a good support and resist. Plus we have a daily pivot and monthly S1. So next we need to do is set the alert. And I'm going to go slow speed on these guys. Everyone knows what to type in for it. It's alert underscore pound, or not pound, hashtag, whatever you want to call it, and then the number. You can make these any colors you want. I have mine set as draw object as background, you might have noticed, so that it doesn't jump in front of the charts too much, but I'm using a bright pink line for this example. Typically I'll make this almost non-visible. I don't really want to see it. I'll make it a dark gray so it doesn't really appear on the chart. Anything else, simply grab your cursor. What I'm looking for here is I have 2 right here, so I could mark again here if I wanted to. Because we have 2 institutionals lining up, so it's a good idea. If you can line up 3, great. And coming down here, right here we possibly have one because we have a round number, DS1, and then below it a Murray math line. So from what you can see there, we have Murray math line, DS1, and a round number. Where would you draw it? Any suggestions? Since we're about equal spaced between the round number and the Murray math line, the daily support 1 is almost dead smack in the middle, so just draw it there, dead smack in the middle. Because one level of confluence, when it hits that we're going to have 2, and if it drops more we're going to have 3, or price coming up to it as we're going. So it's probably going to pop. Alert. Now remember, this is for a support downwards. Upwards it might be a resist too. Let's take a look real quick since it prices around it. So if price came back up to here, it becomes a resist. Right now it was a good support. As we can see right there, it was an okay one. That would have been a trade actually. Stochastics was dropping. We had a confirm All you had to do is on that one was wait till your last 10 seconds to get in, and we would have had 2, almost 3, depending. I would have taken this one into consideration. It was less than a half a pip away, so DS1 is. It depends on your broker. Again, remember, it's just my broker is right now. I'm using a Wanda, so my daily pivots are based off of the U.S. Open, which is going to reset everything here in a bit. Yours are based off of some other open, but remember, the U.S. has millions of people in it. If I was using Trader's Way, which I think is GMT -0, there's millions of people in that. So they're going to vary a little bit, but it evens out in the end. There's still a shit ton of people in there that are going to be looking at the same pivot point you have, and I'm going to have a shit ton of people with the same pivot point I have. I'm trading U.S. primarily, so I'm using a U.S.-based broker, because I want to see what the other schmucks in the U.S. are going to see. Does that make any sense for you? I have some people that are kind of anal about that, and they will switch brokers. During the European session, they'll use a European-based broker, and then during the U.S. session, they'll switch over to a U.S.-based broker because they want to see daily pivot points and everything that are aligned to the U.S. market. There are some indicators that'll let you put in the GMT, but I find it easier, and I always tell people this, you can just load up the same damn MT4 doesn't hurt too much. Just freaking load up another one with the time zone you want to see. Because otherwise you have to load up, or you could have a template with it, but not all the indicators are going to reflect the same. Long story short, personally, unless you're I'm not going to say smart, unless you have the indicators designed for the GMT to be put into them, it's just easier to switch to another broker. Close down Trader's Way, open up freaking Wanda as you get closer to the U.S. session. Other than that, on this one, not too much else I see. So we can set 3 traps on this. Down here, we could possibly have one here. But for now, I'm going to skip it. I just want to see, for now, about where price is. If price drops down to here, I'm going to see it go overbought, oversold. Weekly, daily, and monthly low, and previous weekly low. So we have a nice zone here, but you could set a trap down here on previous weekly and monthly low. If it drops there, most likely they're going to have to be pushing price if value charts goes off. That's why I don't typically set them on these lines. Next one we have is Euro USD. Oh, let me go back. Did I turn on the candles? Yes, I did. And let me save my template real quick after I remove these. I'm going to go back and add them in. I'm removing them because I hate having the bright pink lines across the chart. I'll put them back on later. Let's see, template, save real quick. Oh, I have my alerter up. I don't know why I remove it then I save my template. I'm an idiot. Okay, so on this one, what I see is pretty flat. It looks like we had a big movement here. How do I know we had a big movement? It's mainly because this section here crossed 1, 2, 3, almost 4 Murray math lines. So the first thing I do, so I can get a better picture, I want to zoom out. So I can see we're doing a move, consolidation, move. And this was just ugly. Then we had a drop, consolidation, up, down. So I'm more interested in this section here. Price moved up, then down, up, and then down. It's still riding in the middle of the center of gravity. It's pushing monthly low. We can see that it's been pushing a new monthly low. We did have a reversal right here, but there wasn't really anything around to indicate it. So for me, Euro doesn't look the greatest right now because it looks more along the lines of it's a consolidation. We have a little bit of a range forming, but it's not that big a one. So let's see what Itchy tells us. Heavy downward momentum with a light green cloud. So if I had to rate this on a scale of, say, 1 to 10 if I was going to trade it, because of this small range, I would give this thing maybe a 4 or a 5 right now. Do I want to set my trap? Sure. But if I get a Euro alert... Yeah, if we get a bullish put, I would have, for instance, bullish candle. I would be looking for puts on this one. So I would be looking at like that as a trade. But anything on this side is a call. I would probably stay away from, because we know it's pushing the monthly, weekly low, and sometimes when it hits that level again, they're going to push the hell out of it. There is no, how'd you say, yes, it might form like on Itchy and show us that there's going to be a run, but in general, when we know the monthly, weekly, daily low, well, the monthly low, that means all the other lows are being pushed. In general, when I see the monthly lows being pushed, I'm hesitant to jump into a trade on these, because a lot of times they will hit it and they will push it, or it'll reverse, but when they push it, it will just blow through levels. So I would be very cautious taking any calls on this. A put, as long as we have this type of momentum still forming, I would be looking for calls on this one. Yeah, you could trend trade this one since we do have heavy downward momentum. Not all the guys are trend trading yet, so I'm not going to push into that one yet. If anyone other than Normans has questions on it, but yeah, you could definitely trend trade this one because we can see we have heavy downward momentum. Our pullback was there, so we had it there. We had a small pullback here, and we're moving down again. It's starting to show a little resistance because look at the number of green candles we're getting mixed in with the red. But other than that, yeah, you're right. You could definitely trend trade it. Next, USD JPY. Euro, you saw how I kind of skipped over it. I'll go back to it and look at it later at the US Open. Euro for me is just a wait and see. I'm looking for calls or puts only on it for binary options, so I would be moving with the trend. If I took it, I would be looking for a reversal back with the trend, basically. Higher time frame, I'm not going to get into it. I don't want to confuse anyone. Let me see something real quick. Sorry, I'm checking Skype real quick to see. Okay, so USD JPY. Again, it looks like, for me, the first thing I would do is zoom out again. Looks like we had a nice range. And then we dropped into a waterfall down. Okay, so this one, the way I see it, here was my FIBO drop. A, B, C. So that was the drop, the reversal. And now basically here we're waiting to see what happens. We're still at the bottom of the center of the gravity. And we don't have anything too solid set up yet. I tend to agree with you, Normans. Once my daughter's back in school, I hope, honestly, once she's a little bit older, I'll be trading London more often than I will US. I gotta kind of deal with what I have, because if I trade London and I don't get a nap by chance in the afternoon, like I end up with a busy day, then I'm just wasted by the time my daughter comes home and I'm no use to her. But US session is a little bit harder. Some days you're going to get the very nice ones, but US is so politically involved sometimes it just makes the market shit. UJ, on a scale of 1 to 10, as UJ sits now, anyone want to drop a number in? On how good of a chart do you think UJ is to trade? Remember, the first thing we're looking for is identify a ranging chart to up your chances of having a good day. So, as UJ sits right now, what do you think of it? Is it a good pair to trade or bad pair? Let's just do it that way. Good or bad? Fine, don't answer. UJ, I'm asking on UJ. If you had to look at this pair right now, okay, so we got one good answer. Not looking very good for trading reversals right at the moment, because it's not truly ranging anymore. It was ranging, we dropped. If I had to guess, we're going into a consolidation period here, or this might turn into our range, but it's a wait and see. So UJ for me, again, put it on the back burner, we're going to wait. Trap-wise, if we want to set one, there's a nice one right here. I'm not going to go through and do the numbers, because again, I'm just going to remove these in a little bit and do it myself. Yeah, I would watch that here, but this isn't a... So guys, don't get confused. This isn't a TA trade, but when we got 1, 2, 3, 4 institutional levels. Look right here. We have the mid round number. When I say mid round number, okay, round numbers because this was a question earlier. What we have 2 colors, yellow and pink, purple, whatever. If you're colorblind, who knows? Stronger round number, weaker round number, but that's in context of the market. When I say strong and weak, I'd say strong and medium maybe, but they're both round numbers. But this is your middle one because you can see it has the 500 in it. But what am I looking at is right here, we should have a very strong reason for price to react when it comes into that area. We can see here, when price came down into it, and it reversed. That for me was a trade no matter what was going on. Unless price bombed through this little area, this here was a trade. I don't care if it was overbought, oversold. This was a trade for me right here because we had 4 institutional levels breached, which means a shit ton of people are... There's most likely, out in the world, there's sitting enough people between these 4 institutional levels that price should reverse a little. Did it reverse? Yeah, wasn't the greatest reaction. But I don't care what's going on. If I would have had that, that would have been marked as a trap. A trap. Holy hell! Can I not talk? Let me get a water real quick. Okay. So does everyone understand why I would have tossed TA out the window, and I would have looked? I would wanted this marked. Again, you're going to have different traps than I am, so unless you want to switch to a Wanda to match my screens exactly, but if you're trading predominantly the Euro session, I would recommend using maybe Trader's Way, and if you're trading predominantly the US session, maybe use a Wanda. Because, I'm not being mean when I say this, I didn't want to go through and put GMT settings and all the indicators. I have a hard enough time keeping up with everyone as it is, and my simple answer for anyone that wants everything to match up to the current session is switch brokers. I have people that struggle just to get MT4 set up, and it takes them 6 months to get the hang of using TA, and then when they finally do, they do okay, but I mean, I really have people that for the first month, I'm struggling to explain to them institutional levels. So then I'm going to throw in institutional levels and tell them, okay, when the US session kicks in, let's change time frames. When I say, or I can tell them, just load up the other broker and go for it. So that's why that feature isn't in there. But everyone gets here why. We have 4 institutional levels lined up. So what we want is a trap there, and we want to get in on that one. You can use the current market conditions, your setup on overbought, oversold, to help you judge whether that be a 1, 3, or 5% trade. But you definitely want that marked because that's a jump all over that shit. Let's see. This chart, when it goes up and breaks through it, if it'll be a breakout. Not enough information yet. All I can see is consolidation there. Depending on how it hits it. If it slowly creeps up into this, I would stay the hell out of it. I call those slow bleeds. If price is just slowly moving towards a pivot point, that's when they don't hold. Because price will just coast on through it. And it's like, I know y'all aren't rednecks, but like, I spent the summer on farms when you freaking cut a pig's throat and it bleeds out. That's kind of what I call it. It's just bleeding out if it moves up slowly through it. Other than that, we see any other traps we want? I have a potential one that I would like to mark over here. And I'm just marking it in between the two. Other than that, I see one up top. We have a round number. Monthly high, weekly high, daily 5-0, blah, blah, blah. I remember I don't normally mark this one. This one I would because I see we have 2 institutional levels with the daily, weekly, monthly. So I do want to know if price climbs back up to there. It'll be a third touch, but we'll just go along on how it hits it. It's going to be a while before it goes back up there and does a third touch, though. Is everyone getting the idea on how to set these freaking traps and what you want to be looking for during pre-trading prep? How these things are going to help you out? Okay, this is AUD USD. There's, I can see two obvious freaking traps you want marked. One of them we already missed for a potential trade too. while we were bullshitting. There's been a really good trade right now. That kind of sucks. And I'm going to show you, because it's in the middle of the center of gravity, it would have been an ignore. Y'all can see that one. I'm taking it. Okay, so for me right here, we had 1, 2, and here's our daily FIBO. So think of them as magnets. You can put it down in the middle, but let's drop it down more towards the bottom here. This one's consolidation. It went slightly overbought, oversold on this candle. What also happened, so it did actually hit 8. It would have popped an alert here. If we go down, because I have a tiny wick hanging out below 8. This one would have popped value charts. It would have been in the middle of the center of gravity. I am not telling y'all to cheat if you're still struggling to learn or you're just getting the hang out of it. What we have here is a temporary breakout of consolidation. Bollinger Bands hadn't oh my god, Bollinger Bands hadn't constricted enough to look funky. Now they're constricting. We had a temporary breakout of the range. What else did we have? We wouldn't have seen it, but actually that's about it that you would have seen at the time. It would have been the bottom of the hour, so this would have been a risky one, but I would have probably taken, because I had one thing going against me, bottom of hour. Actually, this would have been 5. This would have been bottom of hour. Yes, it is also that too. But it's also Murray Math Lines, weekly support 1. If this would have been maybe a daily support, might. Actually, I still would have been in it. Daily FIBO here, and we're good. Would have been, I would say, 1%. But we did have it went overbought, oversold, so we still were good on this one. It would have been in the middle of the cog. That is one time I would have ignored the center of gravity. Does everyone see why I would have ignored the center of gravity on that trade? It was consolidation, but it broke out enough of consolidation to pop value charts. So as Lots would have called it, it would have been a divergence, even though it was just an odd move in the current range. And it happened to line up with these institutional levels. The other trap I see is down here. So we have a Murray Math, a round number, and 2 institutionals. I would drop it slightly below them because we have the round number. I'm sorry, this is a current swing, so wow, I'm not awake yet. Current swing. So we have a round, this, and this. Kind of put it in the middle. We have 2 close and then one a little bit below. So that's a trap that I would see there. Be aware that monthly, weekly, daily low is right below this. So if you see it pound through this, I would hold until it hits. And then I would see how it looks compared to these. If it closes lower than this, I would be leery. But we'd want to look at... Damn it. Am I confused? Oh, I have 2 freaking TA charts loaded. When I'm teaching, sometimes I screw up my charts. This is AUD USD, the one I was looking at. As we can see on this one, Itchy doesn't show a giant momentum in either direction. I'm recording it, ma'am, so you can kiss my butt. If you didn't. I'm recording it. I'll post it up if I'm going in and out. We're almost done anyway, and I'm opening it up to any last-minute questions. The last chart we have, AUD JPY. Let me zoom out. Any opinions on this one? Do y'all like, dislike? What do you think of current market conditions? Would you want to trade it? Let's give it a good, bad. Thumbs up, thumbs down. What do you think of the chart? Am I cutting out that bad? Correct. Cog is a little bit distorted, squeezing. We just came out of a waterfall, and do we know what price is doing here yet? So we would mark it as just a watch. It's on the back burner. Do we want to set our traps? Yes, we do. Again, remember what I said when it's pushing the monthly low. Check Itchy. My God, I am such a mess. Okay, so AJ we've already determined it's not the best chart to trade TA on. So if we take a look over here, the cloud is starting to form and it's getting wider, so that would indicate momentum's building. If we're going to take a trade on this, we would be looking for puts. Now, what's the likelihood of us getting a put on a downward trend? Not that great, but we want to do puts only on this one. Calls would be kind of risky. You could trend trade with it, or you could wait for a pullback and do a reversal. You can do pullbacks itchy style or wait for one TA style, whichever you prefer. But all you need to be aware of is on AUD/JPY, taking a call with this would be risky. Next thing you want to do is set your trap. We have 161 weekly support DS2, so we can just drop that puppy there. This one I just don't like too much. You can see where this line held, but remember how I said about a slow bleed? These things just got tiny, 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 and then hit that level. That would have been in a void. That's what I would consider it's slow bleeding to your point of interest, I guess, if you want to, like an American cop, a person of interest. Other than that, anyone see any other traps that they would set on this one? I have one above up here, but the chances of price getting there. But remember, in the afternoon when I don't care, go for it. I'm waiting. I do have one that I want to mark. Because so far the only one we have has already been breached. The other one's above the daily high. So that's not looking too sexy so far to get us any type of trap set up. The one I am looking at and is right here. We have Murray Math Line, 93 daily FIBO, so we could just drop it down in the middle. Anything else y'all see that stands out? If this candle went up to here, no, I would not take it. What I was looking for this one is price to move down to it. What I didn't like, and what I was talking about earlier, like the slow bleeds. If this candle right here would have breached price, I most likely would have taken it here. But what happens is, this is our last decent, we have consolidation and then a nice candle down. This was an odd movement candle down, and then we again go back to these tiny little candles, and they get smaller and smaller and smaller. This is what I would consider a slow bleed. Whenever I see smaller and smaller candles hitting into a pivot level, I just steer clear of that. It's like again, it's just a slow bleed. It means that there probably aren't any orders in this area, and if they are, we don't have enough movement in the market anyway to react to it. Our volume was 112, 128, 190, 293, 245. So we see a pattern as I'm going back, volume's increasing. As it came to here, volume was just tapering off. It dropped all the way down to 112, and then it spikes back to 203. Right here was our entry candle. If we were going to touch it, but volume was tapering off and the candles were getting smaller. So right then and there, I just say, screw it. It's like I said, it's just a slow bleed. Just ignore it. Don't risk it. You don't know what's going to happen with these because volume gets tapers off to the point where price can just think of it as a, I don't know, like something floating in the beach. It's just going to slowly come into shore, and it's going to slowly push through your pivot point. So that pretty much sums up my pre-trade prep. First thing I do, Forex Factory. Yeah, it could possibly be. To sum it up, Forex Factory, jump to check on news and meetings for the day. We do know there's a meeting for the day, so if we see a bunch of charts picking up speed at once, we're going to pause trading because we know we have meetings today. Other than that, we got a little bit of news release later. You should be aware of it from looking at Forex Factory or have the indicator on your chart. I prefer to look at Forex Factory. Next thing I do, go through and just review each chart real quick, guys. I did this slow-paced marking charts, and it took us, what, along with bullshitting, I don't know, it took us 241 megabytes. whatever that was in time. We started this a little bit after 6, so it took about an hour. Typically, I can jump through. Yep, review the video, but basically what it is, I'm using a Wanda, which is US time zone, East Coast, so my daily pivots will be based off of their open and close. If you don't know what I mean, just go to show period, not show period separators. Now if we jump out, see this white line here? Coming shortly at US Open, this white line redraws. Actually, or do they do it at midnight? Anyway, that's my period separator, so it basically shows this is midnight for me, everything here. If, like I was mentioning them, if you're trading US market, I don't want to get too much into it again. If you're trading US market, you always have the option, load up a Wanda with all the freaking indicators. Your indicators will then match the US market. It doesn't matter though, because even during the US market, you should still have a shit ton of Europe trading. But if you're really, really feeling uncomfortable about having your pivot points not match up to the US market, just load up a Wanda with everything, boot it up when the US starts to kick in. When it's done for Aussie session, whatever, use a Euro-based, like Trader's Way. Ooh, I have the hiccups. Do we have any other questions other than that? Remember, for me, my routine goes like this in the morning. As soon as US lunch starts to hit in, I delete these, and I redo it all again. I just set my traps again, I turn off value charts, and let my traps run for the afternoon. You don't have to sit in front of your computer 24 hours a day to trade. During your session that you're going to trade in, I definitely recommend it. So if you're a heavy London trader, mark your chart, sit in front of it. Hey, does we switch to summertime? No, don't say summertime in this chat room ever again. Summer will start to kick in around June, and it's miserable trading times. Webinars, I'll be up early all this week. So today was a struggle. I woke up, my alarm went off at 5, I snoozed it twice and got up at 5:30, but tomorrow I'll be a little better at it. I might actually just start getting up at this early because I can catch a little bit more of the London session before the US stupidity kicks in. Any other questions? Norman's summer, I'm not too sure what you meant by that comment. Summertime, like daylight savings or summer trading conditions. Daylight savings kicked in Sunday for the US. I don't know, does the rest of the world still do that crap? Because we seem to be pretty ass backwards. Okay, so real quick notice, AUD, USD, and cable just popped. The candle's moving a little bit. This is cable. I'm going to check AUD, USD. See how these charts are mimicking each other? In general, we're getting the same shape. We just had 3 charts pop. It's 7:26. Do we have news? So I had three charts pop. So what I say if I saw multiple charts popping at the same time? First thing you want to do is have news. No, we don't. We're in a news-free zone right now. So what would I do at this point? I saw 3 charts pop, 4 charts pop now. And we know there's a meeting going on. Any comments? I already said what to do. You can either jump, if you have a really, really good setup, you could consider dropping down to a 1%, or you might want to sit out and see if something just happened. Because again, we had a meeting, and we had 4 charts pop within 60 seconds. So you want to look at the price action on them, see if it looks funky, and decide what to go from there. Any other questions? Anything else, guys? Gals? I will be over in live chat in about 10 minutes. I will not be broadcasting till the video uploads, but I'll be in there to answer questions. Because if I broadcast, it kills my up speed. Friday will not be available. If everything goes well, I'm going to get up in the morning and head out to the beach. Oh, the 1 hour forward? Yeah, we had daylight savings time kick in Sunday. Let me stop the recording.